G'day guys, my name is Mick Lockhart from Parkway Studios, and today we're going to have a talk about the ongoing debate on what is real country music and what is not real country music. What's bro country, what's pop country, what's rock country. You've all heard it, you've probably all read it, I'm guessing you have an opinion on it. I definitely have an opinion on it. What I'm here to do today is to try and show you that you can have an opinion on it, but you have to be very, very careful where you voice this opinion. And no one is ever going to say to you, especially me, take your voice away, because we want you to have your voice. However, there's a time and a place for everything. So we're going to have a talk about that today. So let me start by asking you, what is country music? What is it? Do you even know that answer anymore? Or are you so confused in what you read or what you hear? Country music to me is a song that I love the story about. It doesn't matter who tells me, it doesn't matter where it come from, it doesn't matter what country it's being sung in, it doesn't matter what guitar lines are being played. To me, a good country song is a song about us, the people, our families, how we grew up, how our parents grow old, how our dads get drunk and sing in the rain and kick the dog and fall off the train, and all that sort of stuff, okay? A little bit of humour there with the old country song cliches. I think so many people are getting caught up in the wrong parts of this, and they're sitting there continually debating, and it's keeping people up at night, and it's stressing them out, and it's making them feel all these pressures that they don't need to about probably the music that they love. And I'll ask you another question. If you've got a young singer, and let's take it back a few years, if you've got a young singer, 15, 14, 13, 17, 16, that era, that want to come in and get into my industry, which is a country music industry. I love this industry. I've always loved this industry, and I'll love it until the day I die. But if I've got a 15-year-old girl or boy that want to come into country music right now because they've heard a new Keith Urban song, or they've heard a Jason Aldean song, or a Florida Georgia Line song, or a George Strait song, then why does it matter what got them into country music? Simply embrace them and support them in our field. That to me, isn't it all about getting bigger? Isn't it all about us flying that country music banner? No matter what else is happening, isn't that the most important thing? I remember growing up 25 years ago when I went out on the road very first time, picking bush ballads with old country, traditional country guys. My influence were Barry Thornton and Lindsay Butler, Charlie Boyder, those type of guys. And I know the difference between my schooling 25 years ago, even nearly 30 years ago now, to schooling nowadays, that I wasn't game to tell my friends I was a country guitar player. I wasn't game to do that. It was not cool. I had rocks thrown at me. We got bashed. We were picked on because we liked this dang, 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 dang. Who cares? The world we live in now, country music is cool. And for me, as a guy that went through the world of peer pressure in schools, and there's enough peer pressure in there, and that's a totally different debate. There's enough peer pressure at school at the moment. We don't need to add this one to it. But at the end of the day, country music is really cool. And there's a good chance that our kids, when they're 13 and 14 and 15, are listening to country music. Just like we were when we were 13, 14, 15, we were listening to Mel Haggard. And I was listening to George Jones, and I was listening to Hank Williams and Bakersfield stuff, and all this cool music that I loved at the time, because this stuff that's here nowadays, guess what? It didn't even exist. It wasn't even here. It was country music as we know it, or as you want it, and then there was rock and roll. Guess what? Now we've got the blend, and I love it. I actually love it. There's certain elements and there's certain artists that I don't like. I don't listen to them, I don't download them. And I know the hot topic of conversation always, since the whole put your baseball cap on bro country thing really come out is Florida Georgia Line. I know those guys are probably the fellas leading that, or they're the poster boys for the start of bro country. A fact on Florida Georgia Line, Cruise, that song that we all love or we hate, was the biggest, and it still is, the biggest selling song of all time in country music. Blake Shelton had a heated debate, whether or not you like or love Blake Shelton. He's been never sort of afraid to come forward in a heated debate with these things up against some of the big guys in the industry. As I grew up with, they were my superstars, and they still are my superstars. But when those guys speak out against someone like Blake Shelton, he throws it straight back in their face. And he was quoted for a comment, what was it? You old farts don't buy our records anyway, was I think a pretty well-known statement from Blake Shelton. And he was basically just saying that the kids nowadays don't buy the music that my parents bought and your parents bought and we bought 20 and 30 years ago. And the whole process and the whole way that the world literally has evolved, not only the music side of things, but the world has evolved to the point that we don't have to go hop in a car with our mum and dad anymore and drive down on a Saturday morning like we used to and go into the record shop, which was the coolest thing in the world, and just flick through all these great albums that were sitting there, and you'd talk to the guy that was at the end of the counter ready to serve, and he knew everything about every CD or record and cassette. The kids that are watching this, sorry, you probably didn't even know what a cassette is. They were a cool little thing that we used to put in. They were bizarre. Thank goodness they're gone. They were terrible. But, it was a really cool experience for me to go in and with my hard-earned pocket money that I got from a butcher, and I'd go in and I'd buy music. And that's all changed nowadays. We can pick up our phones and we can just go bang, and it's in our phones 30 or 40 seconds later. So the argument has to be on both sides. You actually have to realise that the argument now does have two sides to this story. So can we hate the guys that are evolving country music? I don't think so. We don't have to like it, but we don't have to hate them, and we shouldn't hate them. CMC Rocks was on not too long ago. And it was a sold-out festival, and the headliners for that were Florida Georgia Line and Jason Aldean and some other big American artists. But the cool thing about that festival, and I haven't heard this side of the argument, and I think it's something we should discuss, is the really, really cool thing about this is I've been playing in this country music industry a long time, and I can't ever remember seeing a festival sell out and have the star power that CMC Rocks did, the last one just in Queensland. This is really exciting time for anyone in country music, and it should be embraced, because what people aren't realising is they're too busy focusing on the headliners and how bad they're destroying the music. What about the people that got to play their undercard or played on the day that they were at their festival, or the act? Our Australian acts, these are our Australian acts that are around here. These are, our Troy Casadalis, our Adam Harveys, our Becky Coles, our Adam Eckersley Band, Amber Lawrence, and the list goes on and on and on. These are friends of mine that I know. They got their chance to play to a massive crowd and a buzzing crowd. And you know what? I think if you asked any of them, they wouldn't care. At the end of the day, they walked out on that massive stage and looked out in front of them to that massive audience. And I would think probably deep down they're sitting there going, this is the best thing ever. Because a lot of these big guys, whether we love them or hate them, they knock down a lot of barriers for us. Okay, and that stuff really, really should be the key component in this argument. You don't have to support it, you don't have to buy it, that's fine. But go and embrace what it's doing for country music. Country music is awesome, and it's really, really cool at the moment. And I really hope it stays like that. And in actual fact, I hope that a lot of our new artists embrace exactly what these guys are doing and stick it to them. I really hope they stick it to them. Because at the end of the day, I want to be entertained. They don't need to come from America to entertain me if you're good enough to do it. But that's what I want. And as the market says right now, the buying market, which are the people that we do our music for, right, our fans are actually demanding that they want more. That's the end of the argument right there for me. I have my loves. I know what I love. I know what I put straight on. The second I need something from music, I have my favourites, right? I go to them. And just for the record, it's not Florida Georgia Line. I don't have Florida Georgia Line in my record collection, but I love everything about what they're doing for country music. But I don't listen to them. That's fine. George Strait's my man. I love George Strait. I love Mel Haggard. He passed away here a couple of weeks ago and it broke my heart. Absolutely broke my heart. Sorry about that. I just got caught up with a bit of emotion there. It gets on top of me every now and then. Let's talk about Mel, okay? I'm a big fan of Mel, and I know a lot of you guys are too. Is Mel country? The answer to that has to be yes, doesn't it? So what defines country music? Pedal steels, honky-tonk piano, light drums, light bass, light guitar lines, fiddles, banjos, mandolins. What about saxophone? What about the horns? Mel had saxophone around him for a long time. But that's not the definitive country music, is it? But we still love Mel. Okay, so again, we've got to be a little careful how far we want to go with the branding of what is and what not. Dolly Parton, 9 to 5. We all love that song. We all know that song. Went #1 on the pop charts. Kenny Rogers, crossed over from rock. Conway Twitty, another guy that we know is country. Conway Twitty, country is horse shit. Guess where he was before he came to country? He was a rock star. So was Kenny Rogers. They crossed over from rock. And we accept them, we embrace them. But, you know, the history of these people show that they're not exactly true country artists. What is true country music? I mean, these guys crossed over. So you look at Carrie Underwood, you look at Lady Antebellum, you look at Eric Church, all these people, they're pop, they're so pop it's not funny. They sound 70 and 80 and 80s, very primarily 80s and 90s pop music, and now it's being branded as Nashville pop. Who cares? It's great. It's really cool. I'm a guitar player, right? So 25 years ago when I first started touring, I was pushed over in the back of the corner and I was told to turn down a lot. And it was all about the twang, right? So I had a Telecaster and I had no effects, just a little bit of reverb straight into the amp. And we got told to turn down and just be total colour instrument. Now, there's a wall of guitars right out in front. And it sounds 25 years ago, back in the 80s, that, to me, that was rock and roll. That was, you know, Motley Crue and, you know, the boy hair bands. Remember those big hair glam bands? Poison and Bon Jovi and all those guys. Guess what guitar lines we're playing on records right now? Those lines. So I nearly dropped my pen. Those lines. So that is what it is right now. And it doesn't have to be hated, you know, because I'm pretty sure you haven't listened to one thing in your entire life. And it's okay to have the argument, or it's actually, sorry, let me phrase this. It's okay to say, I love Metallica. And it's okay to say, I love Dolly Parton. But why isn't Dolly allowed to sing a Metallica song? How all of a sudden does that become, and I know that's a pretty bizarre way of looking at things, but why isn't that acceptable? Because you love both components. Who cares? Who actually cares? I don't. If she sings it well, then I'll buy it. You know, I put a thing up on Facebook a little while ago about Steven Tyler from Aerosmith. I love Steve Tyler. I think he's amazing. I think he's one of the best singers on the planet of all time. It was so foreign for me, and I asked the question, do I love this or do I hate it? Because it's so foreign to me. I now love it. I've listened to it a lot more, and I actually love it. I think it's the coolest thing ever. Steve Tyler from Aerosmith singing country music. I think that's awesome, right? Pretty crazy. I know a lot of people are going to hate that. But I think the other thing here is the other people are going to love it, and I think he's going to be pretty good. We're going to see a lot more of this. You know, Toby Keith. All right, here's another one for you. Prime example. Toby Keith's a good country boy, right? And what he did for Merle on Super Bowl weekend, that touched our hearts. He got up and he sang for Merle and he loved Merle and he held him and he took care of him, right? So he's a good, wholesome country boy and we love him as a proud country ambassador. But have a listen to his hip hop beats that he's playing and that he has done for years now, and he's rapped in his songs, and it's acceptable because he's done some other nice things. So there's issues here that it can't be good for the goose, and it's got to be all or nothing. It's got to be all or nothing, But I implore you to please, and I plead with you, please support it all. You don't have to buy it. You definitely don't have to buy it. But if you love country music, then you should support it. It doesn't mean you have to buy it. But it doesn't mean you need to spend your day sitting on Facebook or sitting on Twitter or sitting on the telephone or anywhere you are that people want to hear how terrible it is for this industry, because I'll tell you, it's not. It's really, really good for our industry right now. And in all my entire life playing this game, I'm so proud right now to stand here in front of you and say, I love everything about country music, and I've never really hidden that. A lot of people know that about me. But you can do it too, and you can do it now without ridicule. And that's really, really cool. That's more important than anything, is our music is getting heard in more places than it ever has. And that's the key part to this argument for me. Now, what should you do? You're sitting here and you're watching this thing. What should you do when this argument comes up? Well, you should never support the argument. You can have your say. I please ask you to have your say. And when you see me around, pull me aside and you give me what for. But do not ever publish it. Don't ever publish it. All right, that's the quickest way for you in your career to plummet downhill very, very quickly. Okay? Never give people the opportunity to go picking into you because you've offended them somehow. You never want to do that. You always want to rise above. Politics, religion, musical genres, never ever put them in your conversation. Just get rid of them. All right? I'm known for going on the Facebook and having a rant, and I love it. I get stuck into everyone. It's all fine. I'm entitled to my voice, as you are. However, I'm not asking for a career in the country music industry. I'm not trying to sell records. You have to realise, we go back, I did another video not long ago of the independent music business. Go and watch that thing, because there's parts of stuff that will teach you that this is business. If it's not business, then it's a hobby, and then you're irrelevant. You mean nothing to really any of us. Hurts, doesn't it? If you want to succeed in this game, then you help everyone, and we do it together. That's the one cool thing about country music, is we're a family. And how many people sit there right now watching this video that if I personally attacked your family, you would come at me with a 10-ton brick, right? You'd come straight at me and you would defend your family. Well, guess what? When you dig into anyone in the country scene, you're digging into a lot of people in the country scene. And you're also digging into the fans. Because the one thing that I've learned out of country music, touring Australia and actually touring the world with country music, is one country music fan can love every country music artist. The fans love us all. They have their favourites, I'm sure. Absolutely. Again, they have the people that they will go to the ends of the earth to see. But at the end of the day, if you're promoting country music and you're in their area, guess who's going to be sitting in your crowd? Those people. They love us all. And that's really cool. So be proud of this, and you should too. I ask you, I sit here and I plead with you, stop the debate. No one cares. Sing what you do, and if it's good enough, we'll listen to it. If it's not, we'll flick it away. You have that right as well. You flick the stuff away you don't like. So do I. I just don't want to hear about it. If you're doing country music, I'll come and see you. Then you've got to be good enough for me to stay there. And that's on you. That's not on country music. That's not on, anyone over there, or the guy that's doing that, or the fella that's being played on the radio. That's on you. And I think a lot of this argument comes down to is people realise it's harder than they thought it was going to be. And now the country music as a whole has just been pushed to the stratosphere. Now we're competing with the world. And this is the other thing that I think frightens a lot of people, is you can put your song onto YouTube today and I'll watch it. I'll sit here and click play. But guess what's going to happen in the playlist? There's going to be a big time country music American artist right before you and right after you. So you're competing with them. And I think that terrifies you. And I hope it terrifies you because, again, you got to get better. It's an ongoing argument, this one, and I really don't think it needs to be. I hope a few of you watch this and just throw it away. It doesn't matter, you know. At the end of the day, embrace country music for what country music is right now in 2016, and it's awesome, and it's big, and it's cool. Get behind it and love it. Don't buy it all. If you don't like it, don't buy it. I've said that the whole way along, and I'll always say that. But be really cool and be one of the cool ones like me that sit here and love it all. Because at the end of the day, our industry needs people like us. It needs people like you. It needs your support. It doesn't need the hate. It doesn't need the argument. Support what you love. Don't go to what you don't love. The others will. But that's the cool thing about music is there's enough of it around for us all to love it. So anyway, look, that's just my opinion on it. And I hope some people get some stuff out of this today, and I hope maybe the argument can relax and the debate can relax. It doesn't need to be as black and white as everyone tries to make it. So please subscribe. I'm going to do some more videos like this, and I'm probably going to get on my soapbox a little bit more. And I ask you to stick around and give me your comments. Tell me what parts you've liked and tell me what parts you haven't. And I ask you to tell me what you actually think, because I'll listen to you. Until then, keep it cool and remember, love country music.